I want to share you something from Wishes Fulfilled, one of Wayne Dyer's books. And this is on I'm actually on page 159. You want to make sure that you're going to manifest what you're intended to create. He says, this is on page 159 of this book, are my wishes in alignment with my highest self? Okay? And then he says this is a couple paragraphs later on page 160. If God is one, then God is incapable of being divided. If your desires involve conflict for yourself or anyone else, then you would have brought two into the picture. And I won't read the rest, but this whole idea that, are you manifesting from your highest self is about, let me give you an example. Let's say you're in a job or you're in a business where we'll start with a business. You create a service. That service generates a lot of money for you, but very little service. In other words, there's not an equality there. It's rated in your favor. In that case, you're harming someone else to create what you want. Okay? And that's the kind of creation I'm talking about. It's about manipulating matter to create more matter. Okay? At some level, if you're not able to scale that business, part of the reason may be is because you're not creating from your highest self, from the oneness, because God is not divisible, right? As Wayne was saying, if you make two, then everything is a polarity. It's part of this polar world where there's opposites, the material world, and you're creating from that space. And because the whole of humanity is moving to this oneness where we're all connected and we're all creating with each other as opposed to against each other, and that's where I believe things are going, that this oneness is a more powerful place to create. It makes your life easier. So another example would be if you create, I have a job, but you're going to that job and you make a ton of money, but you feel depressed, you feel unhealthy, then again, you're creating that polarity where you get this amazing thing, but you also get the negative polar opposite, which would be, in this case, could be ill health. Okay? So when you're creating, if you think of yourself as a piece of God, as coming from a piece of this oneness, and you create from that oneness, and then you trust your inner knowing to move forward with that oneness, then you'll continually create from what Wayne talks about in the Tao Te Ching, which is from that center. So it doesn't mean that if you create something that you're going to create this job which earns you a lot of money, but then makes you really stressed. That's not the center. That's not that place of peace. That's not that place of being oneness or joy. So, but if you create something, always remember this. When you create something, always get to a place of neutrality first before you create anything. And what I mean by that is that if you're in a negative state and you just got home from work, or you just had a bad client call, or something just terrible happened, get to a place where you feel neutral, where you don't feel negative or positive, and then create something from that place. Don't create from the negative aspect, because all you're doing is amplifying that aspect of yourself. And that's what I think Wayne's talking about, where he says God is one, because then you create oneness. So think about it this way. If you were to create a new job or a new business opportunity, and you're coming from a place of peace when you create that opportunity, then when that opportunity shows up in your life, and you are a yes to it because you're following that God inner knowing, then that thing or that opportunity will bring you more peace, because you're just amplifying that inner state, which is that oneness that's connected to all things. So I know I threw a lot in this one video, but I wanted to talk about this a little more. And I understand if you got questions or you want to share this, or just talk more about how I create from this oneness, I'd love to have your questions, because I can create more videos then that will answer your questions. Okay? My name's Steve. Thanks for watching and listening. If you like this topic and you want to hear more about it, You might be interested in this too. I have a new book coming out at the end of the year called The 7-Day Manifestation Experiment, The Truth of How Reality Unfolds. If you go in the show notes below on the description of this video, you'll see a link there you can get on my waiting list. So when the book comes out, I can get you a copy. Thanks for watching again. My name's Steve, and we'll talk to you next time.